Hey, pussy, are you still there?
I actually admire that you can actually be this fake, and like when the TV comes on, how you can just change. You're the scum of the earth.
Don't doubt me, I couldn't do it. The odds that I couldn't do it. Look at me now. Lebanon, pound for pound, headshot, dead. That's it.
There's guys out there that are doing this day in and day out. They live and breathe this stuff that they don't get the recognition or credit that they deserve.
Is the secret to fighting?
Not being a fucking pussy. Honestly, you can teach anybody how to fight. But like, if you're a fucking pussy, that's a really hard thing to teach someone not to be.
But speaking of rankings too, I mean, I guess we'll kind of stop right there on that. But just to kind of add, with the new updated pound for pound ranking, I want to know what your thoughts are, and like, I want you to be non-biased, Murky, and I want you to really be honest with me. Do you honestly believe that he should have went from non-ranked to number 5 pound per pound in the world?
Who did he beat?
He beat. Yeah. Okay. I get it. Trust me.
Where was Volk on the pound for pound? So he
Volk
dropped.
Was
he was 3.
Yeah.
Volk was 3.
Volk was number 3 pound for pound.
I mean, he's undefeated. He's 15-0. He just beat the number 3 guy. He went to 5 in the pound for pound. You look at the people behind him. Charles is number 6. What's Charles in his division?
Yeah, but the reason why I say that, he beat the number 3.
He beat Volk. He's over O'Malley. Like, I mean,
that makes sense though.
Yeah, but I mean, right, because O'Malley beat Aljamain to become champ.
Who was also one of the most dominant champions in his division.
Yeah,
and
so
another thing too, it's like Israel Adesanya was one of the dominant champs. He's ahead of him. I get he's not the champ, but like I feel like this is why I hate the pound for pound list, because I feel like it's almost like fraudulent. Like there's people on there that shouldn't be where they're at, which allows things like this to happen. Like I don't see how you go from non-ranked to the pound for pound number 5 in the world. I get he beat Volk. I get it. But I feel like maybe top 10. But we knew Volk is coming off of a knockout. Like, so he's coming off of a loss. So you beat a guy coming off of a loss. I get he's the champ.
Yeah, but he's never lost in his division. It's pound for pound. It's not, you're not either way. So top 10, you have Pantoja at 10.
Pantoja's coming off of 2 title defenses.
Yeah, but a decision win over Brandon Royval. I mean, like, you're not going to put a knockout over the greatest featherweight of all time over a decision win over Brandon Royval.
But then we have Charles.
That's a clear win to me. So
okay,
then you go
then
9,
explain
DDP,
why Charles Oliveira is ahead of Volk.
Because Volk just got. What do you mean? He just went down 4 spots. He wasn't until Volk just lost. Volk was ahead of Charles until he just got knocked out. Now he's behind.
Charles's last win was against Benel Darush, who is coming off of is on a downward spiral.
I mean, what's your point? I don't understand.
I'm just trying to say. I'm just trying to say. Like, I feel like that is bullshit ranking. Like, Ilya jumps to number 5 because he beat the best pound for pound featherweight, who was number 3. But number 3 then drops to number 7 behind a guy who just beat a guy who is almost out of the top 10 as his last win.
Where's Charles's last loss?
Against Islam.
So because Charles beats the people that they put in front of him, he should be behind Volk?
No, I'm saying so. Okay, maybe I'm just not making sense. But if Volk is,
I don't know what the fuck your point is.
I'm just saying if Volk if Ilya deserved to be number 5 because he beat someone who is this good, then Volk shouldn't have moved back behind a guy that lost to the same guy he did, and only win after that was against a guy who's almost out of the top 10. In my opinion, I feel like
the difference is it's pound for pound.
Okay.
Let me explain this to you. So the difference is the guy that you're comparing opponents to with Charles Oliveira and Alexander Volkanovski. Charles Oliveira and Islam Makhachev are in the same weight division.
I get
Volk
that.
is not. Volk went up a weight class and lost, right?
I don't think maybe I'm just not getting my point across how I want to, but all I'm simply saying is I don't feel like Ilya should have moved.
So where should Volk be?
Volk should be right behind Ilya.
So Volk should be 6 ahead of Charles, even though he just got knocked out twice in a row.
But I'm just saying Ilya shouldn't even be number 5.
Where should Ilya be?
He should be either right around the top 10 because this is his first title.
Where? Give me his ranking. Where? Where
if
should
I had
Ilya
to put
be?
him right now, looking at this list, I would put him either at number 9 or number 8, right in front of Sean O'Malley. And the only reason I say that is because I think that if
So
you
you
go
keep Volk ahead of him? How can you put Volk ahead of him when he just knocked him out unconscious?
all right, we're never going to go anywhere with this.
I'm just
there's
asking.
no point.
You're-
All
you-
I'm simply
your
saying is
logic makes no
Ilya is
sense.
not the point. Ilya is not the top 5 pound for pound in the world right now. If you take all the weight classes and put a pound for pound list together, he's not the number 5.
He could be.
He's the number 5.
Yeah, but who has he beat
Pound for
outside of
pound.
Volk? That's what I'm trying to say.
So now all of a sudden, okay. So
To be the pound for
a
pound in the
week
world, you
ago-
have to take
hold
all
on.
things into consideration.
Okay, all things in consideration. A week ago,
Yeah.
Volk was the greatest featherweight of all time. Now he just knocked him out in the second round, and that's not good enough for you for him to be the fifth pound for pound?
Because Volk is he's the greatest quote unquote the greatest featherweight, but he's also coming off of a fucking vicious knockout where he's compromised. So he's already a compromised fighter who just lost because he's a compromised fighter.
So then why is he 7? So why should Volk
Because the
be
pound
higher
for
if
pound
he's so
rank
compromised?
dumb as fuck.
If he's so compromised, then why should it be higher? So then where
Because
should
the
Volk
pound
be?
for pound rankings are dumb as fuck. I don't agree.
I think your version of them is different than the version listed.
I told
Joel,
you how my
your
pound
way
for
of
pound ranking should be.
and it's definitely not that way
because
at
it's
all.
dumb.
It's not the current way. You got it.
So
It's
why?
not.
And another thing too, Tom Aspinall, number 9.
I thought he was like number 11.
I mean, number 12.
Yeah,
The guy who's the interim heavyweight champion of the world, who just knocked out a guy who was on.
I do agree.
You know
so
what I'm
I
saying?
do.
Like-
So I do agree that is low. And what's interesting with that is he didn't move. So Strickland actually, they kept Tom Aspinall at 12 and dropped
Strickland moved down.
Strickland to 13.
That's what I'm saying.
Max
So-
didn't move, but Aljamain moved down 3 spots.
Which is crazy. And then Max Holloway, no offense, I like Max, but he's ahead of Aljo, who last loss was against Sean O'Malley, who for the title. So I mean, Max hasn't.
The whole list is bullshit, man.
Yeah,
You can
it's
argue
stupid.
anything on that. Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, all right, I'm not trying to just like totally like say Ilya's like ranking is bullshit, but I'm just saying the whole pound for pound ranking is fucking dumb. And the way they set these fucking standards on how these people are pound for pound makes no sense. I agree with the first 3. Islam deserves to be number 1. John Jones deserved to be number 2. He's never lost. And Leon Edwards is coming off of 2 great title defenses against arguably the greatest in that division for many years.
Yeah, so I would say I agree. I agree with you that there's a million flaws on the list. That's kind of all I'm saying is like Ilya to me is not the biggest flaw on that list.
But
like
and then
there's
I'm sorry,
plenty
I'm
more.
going to leave it at this. And then Israel Adesanya is number 11.
Right.
How is he ahead of Sean Strickland when Sean Strickland beat him?
Yeah, I agree. Well,
You know what I'm
I
saying?
guess just the body of work. I don't
That
know.
goes with the same thing of like Ilya. It's like Ilya
Right.
beat Volk, yeah. But
You could say
why is
Ilya's
he ahead
number
of Volk?
3.
You know what I'm saying?
You could even say Ilya's 3 because he's an undefeated champion if you go that route. There's so much ways you can attack.
Yeah,
tackle that.
I don't disagree with you that these rankings are bullshit. They 1,000% are. I just don't think like you look at those rankings and say Ilya at number 5 is the most fucked up one.
No. I didn't. That's not what I was trying to say. I was only pointing out Ilya because we were on the topic of this last main event, and I wanted to point out his jumping in the rankings. I'm not simply calling him out as just like singling him out. I'm just saying the whole ranking system sucks.
I think his ranking is appropriate. I think other people's rankings are all fucked. I think his is appropriate, and the only reason is because you just beat the featherweight GOAT. You beat the number 3 pound for pound in the world, who at one time was even a little bit higher than that, I'm pretty sure. They were that first fight with Islam, they were both 1 and 2 pound for pound, right? So, and then you just beat the number 3 pound for pound guy. You're 15-0. You're undefeated, and I mean, it's not like it was a close decision victory either.
Sure.
I mean, it was
Pound
really convincing. So like, I wouldn't care if he was 8 or 9. I think he's ahead of O'Malley. I mean, O'Malley has a loss. He lost to Cheeto.
Yeah, and
He can say whatever he wants about
don't
the
disagree
injury,
with that.
but
That's why I said if I had to put him somewhere, I would put him ahead of O'Malley.
but he has to be ahead of Volk. And so then it's like Charles, I don't know. I mean, it seems
But I feel like that logic
Charles
right
is
there,
ranked
though,
high.
that logic right there, though, is you're saying he has to be ahead of Volk. Yeah, well, then if that's the case, then Strickland has to be ahead of Izzy.
I agree. Yeah.
You know
No,
what I'm saying? So like, that's what I'm trying
Well,
to say. And I'll end
no,
it at that. I don't want to argue about it.
Yeah.
Because,
No,
I don't care if he's that. I'm just
Yeah.
saying, if we're going to use
No,
logic like that, then that's what we got to.
No, I agree, bro. I agree with you. And like, even in that sense, like, if he's ahead of Volk, Strickland should be ahead of Izzy. So it's almost like sometimes, like in Izzy's case at number 11, they're using same with Oliveira at number 6.
Oliveira's high on that list.
They're looking
very
at
high.
they're using his entire body of work
Exactly.
to justify his ranking.
Facts.
But then Ilya, they're not really using. I mean, he is undefeated, but like
There's
not big wins to get him to number 5. The win that got him to number 5 was only beating Volk, which was his last opponent. So then if you carry that same, energy into Israel Adesanya, then he can't be above Sean Strickland. So like it all kind of contradicts itself. So yeah, I mean, it is kind of, I don't know how the fuck like
it just, some of this stuff doesn't make sense to me. And I might look way too deep into like statistics and rankings and things like that. And it's only because I see flaws in that system that they have. Because if you know me, I've already told y'all this. If I had to put a pound for pound list together, the fucking heavyweight champion of the world is the number 1 pound for pound, simply because he is literally the pound for pound biggest, baddest motherfucker in the UFC.
Yeah, but that's not what that means though. Like that's the difference. Maybe that's the disconnect. But Aspinall also being 12 is
It's stupid.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.